streets that I would be frightened to go into in broad daylight.
I mean, isn't forcible rape in broad daylight a misdemeanor?
Broad daylight, deliver it.
Broad daylight in the middle of a crowd.
With a total stranger in broad daylight in a public place.
Broad daylight and rob the place.
Broad daylight like a common drunk.
Filth in broad daylight.
On Fifth Avenue in broad daylight.
In broad daylight and at close range, huh? Must have looked like ripe melon.
Broad daylight was probably
400 men in broad daylight, you're mad.
I lead you,
Two girls in broad daylight and then...
And in broad daylight, too.
See it in broad daylight.
I've allowed you to roam the streets of London late at night, streets that I would be frightened to go into in broad daylight. I've taken into my own home the employ of...
Just what do you consider going too far? I mean, isn't forcible rape in broad daylight a misdemeanor in this town?
There's too much at stake to throw away on hysterics now.
Christ was stolen in broad daylight by an unknown criminal gang posing as American tourists.
When it's ready, get it out of here. Deliver it.
In broad daylight?
Deliver it. That engine has blocked log on 4 trains for the front.
I was holding his hand when he was shot. In broad daylight in the middle of a crowd.
I'm very sorry.
Not an easy thing to do. With a total stranger in broad daylight in a public place.
Unless he was there with someone he knew and trusted.
Fish and water.
Sure. Let's just walk in there in broad daylight and rob the place. Oh yeah, while you're at it, you're gonna dynamite.
What are you doing, wallowing in the mud? In broad daylight like a common drunk. You reckon it?
Filth in broad daylight.
Right. This. 3 years ago, he tries to hold up Tiffany's on Fifth Avenue in broad daylight. He could have got 2.5 to 5, but Tiffany's wouldn't
Right today?
No, I don't feel very hungry.
In broad daylight and at close range, huh? Must have looked like ripe melons.
Operation Supervisor.
No. Anyway, whoever got in here without a key in broad daylight was probably smart enough not to leave prints. I have the remote. Here.
Face march from the coast. I could try to contact your navy.
Move 400 men in broad daylight, you're mad.
I lead you, Colonel.
Why? Why should you?
Do you think you hate the Germans more than I do, Major Pincham?
There's no way that someone with the IQ of a 10-year-old could abduct 2 girls in broad daylight and then somehow make them disappear.
Snooping through windows. And in broad daylight, too. Where are your manners, Mr. Lippman?
Don't tell Dix.
Filthy with it, you'll dream it. See it in broad daylight. But do it.
Well, you said yourself that if anything did happen, it must have happened in broad daylight.
Oh, that's right, I've forgotten. Oh, that means I'd have to...
Look, man, I didn't mean to shoot the son of a bitch. The gun went off. I don't know why.
Well, look at this fucking mess, man. We're on a city street in broad daylight here.
Believe it, man.
Well, believe it now, motherfucker. We gotta get this...
Ridiculous. They're gonna knock over a bank in the middle of London in broad daylight.
Dill, and you're meant to take it 3 times a day. You could watch your old mum get gang raped in broad daylight and still appreciate the weather, you know what I mean?
Well, apparently the stuff works.
Gordon went right up to him in broad daylight, of course, because he's the man, right? And he took all those drugs away, and it was...
Genuine cluster of fuck, Russ. The LAPD went Wild West in daylight. Shots are fired at the intersection.
Witnesses?
We'll have to wait for the polyjuice potion to know for sure.
Enlighten me. Why are we brewing this potion in broad daylight in the middle of the girls' lavatory? Don't you think...
Was attacking the gym guy. It was in broad daylight on the street. Our man did not know what to do. Felt he...
Out, park it in the street, pull the cop car in here, okay? You can't leave it out there in broad daylight, and I can't be getting in and out of the car. It's my fucking back. It's the worst.
Better than what?
Well, it's a bit embarrassing to admit you backed into a wall in broad daylight, isn't it? Cheers.
Aren't you coming with us?
You all saw him. He attacked me in broad daylight, and he had his way with me.
Me? I barely...
And found it, at least part of it.
You think he just took one look at this latest work of art and just went axe happy in broad daylight? I think it's great. It's great promotion for our king. Great.
Denying that. First Ben gets stung in broad daylight, and then Albie.
What's the matter with you people? Don't you remember when a decent woman couldn't walk down the street in broad daylight? Don't you remember when this wasn't a fit place to bring up a child?
At the same time, I feel free.
It's getting to where one can't walk in broad daylight. And that one goes running around at all hours.
I wouldn't try it in broad daylight.
All right, I'll have a go at it myself then.
Nah, it's not possible. Job needs to be done in broad daylight. That means civilians, that means terrain.